Go.
What do you feel like you guys accomplished during the bye week before getting ready for prep for Colorado State?
Yeah, we've had some really good weather. We had a chance to see the young guys splitting in those periods all last week, and then Saturday we started game planning for Colorado State, and then today was our Tuesday practice. So we're about 6 practices in. It's always nice to get a little bit of work there, get some guys healthy, and see some of the young guys. We got some guys. Carlos Sandy, Marcel Walker, some of those guys back in the mix that are now 100% healthy, and they've been banged up a little bit. We're the pit area at practice is pretty clean right now, so that gives us a lot of options on special teams and in our offensive and defensive depth. Good.
Coach, you always talk about faceless opponent. Is this really a faceless opponent this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's a conference opponent. That's every time we play now, it's a big game. It's a conference opponent, and we talked to our team about this is a huge game because it's the next game. Every time we go out now is a big game. So hopefully they're taking it in that fashion and preparing. And obviously it's always good to have a bye week, so you have a few more days to prepare and get a little more in and clean up some of the stuff that you haven't been doing well at. So now when you're actually into game week, it is really just the next opponent now.
Did you talk to guys about, channeling the emotion of this game in a positive way and using that to the best of your ability without getting hijacked by it, I guess?
Yeah, I think anytime there's a big game, a big conference game, anything of this sort, you have to take all your focus and make sure that you're the most prepared team, the most focused team, and anything that would distract from that focus has to be thrown out. So this will be a big challenge. It's just like the Iowa game was a big challenge, the Air Force game was a big challenge. It'll be a big challenge for a lot of guys to be able to focus and play their best game because it's the next game and they prepared really well and for that reason only. So I'm excited to watch them play Friday and see the energy that they're going to bring out to this game.
You guys have been playing at home. It's going to be a blackout. I guess what have you thought of the atmosphere of Mackey for your first 2 home games, and then what do you hope the atmosphere is for this game?
Yeah, it'll be our first night game in Mackey, so I think that'll be every time you play a game, it's something. It's something new. It's something. But this will be our first night game in Mackey. I think the blackout and Steve's got an open scrimmage beforehand. There's a booster golf tournament earlier in the day, so it's going to be a big Wolfpack day, and I hope it equates to a lot of people coming out to see the team play and to see this this a big Friday night game, and the new uniforms. There's a lot of cool stuff to bring people out. Hopefully, the biggest thing is that we play really good football on a Friday night on national television.
Coach, have you ever encountered a situation like this before where a coach leaves in the very next year, there's still some guys on the team and they have to face him?
No. I have not.
You were here for the Jeff Wharton game. That was 2 years removed, but I guess what do you remember about that? Is there any comparable to maybe the emotions the players might be feeling going against their former head coach?
That was a long time ago. I remember the post-game stuff from that game. I remember some of that, but I don't see that. I mean, that was a huge rival. There was a lot of different things in that game and coming back, and a lot of really good coaches and players. A lot of my friends in that game. So I don't see anything really comparable at that time and this time with this game. It's not a regional. It's not something that's been a long time history rival or anything like that. So it's going to be a really good Mountain West football game, I think.
I know you went out to the Galena Minnow game. I know you can't talk about individual players, but why is it important for you to give scholarship offers out to some of these local kids, and what do you think they add when they come here to play for the hometown school?
Well, I think the biggest thing we have to do is we have to evaluate, and we don't just offer guys because they're an area guy. We offer them because we think they have talent to be a difference maker in our program. That's the first thing. But we have to dig deep in our own area. Obviously, when there are players from the area on your roster that are contributing, like a Chris Smalley and some of those guys before him, that brings more interest from the area. I think there's more pride in it, just like there's a lot of pride in Nevada. So we want to dig as deep as we can through all the area here. And if we feel like like, as you see, from our recruiting, if we feel like somebody can help us win football games and at a high level, then we offer them scholarships. But we want to take care of our area first and then work out from there. And we had a great time last Friday and Saturday getting out to all the area schools. Even the ones that didn't play, we got to those schools, and all the coaches got to get out, and we've invited all those area coaches to come to the game and their players. And I think we get a lot of interest from the area guys here, and we've given a lot of guys a chance to come here, and a lot of those guys are going to end up playing here, just like Chris Smalley is for us right now. And I think that just brings more and more into it, and it's a positive for everything. But, it's very clear to us that, we're not just going, hey, he's from Reno High, so we're going to give him a scholarship. I mean, we have to evaluate the position need, the ability, the future, what the development is of that player. And if we're all in, then we go full speed. And I think, we're on as many of the guys in this area, and we continue to evaluate this area just like we do other areas. But Northern Nevada and Northern California are very important to us.
You were gone for 9 years, but it seems like there are more FBS guys locally getting scholarship offers. How have you seen the level of play in Northern Nevada change from 2012 to now?
Yeah, I mean, there's been there's been a lot of Power 5 guys coming out of here in the last 9 years, but I think the quality of football in the whole state has gone up in the last 9 years. I think Utah and Nevada are probably two of the states that the talent improvement in those areas, along with Arizona, has been really marked. And when I was gone from here, I really enjoyed coming back here and recruiting and going to Utah and getting into Arizona and seeing the level of football go up. But certainly our board for Las Vegas and specifically Northern Nevada is much bigger than it was when I left here. And a lot of that is a credit to the coaches and just the interest in football and the improved talent level across the board in this state. So that's an advantage for us to get out and work those guys as hard as we can.
Colorado State beat reporter said that Millen's shoulder is injured, so you might see a backup this week. What do you make of CSU from what you've seen on film so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's some of the air raid stuff. I've been really impressed with their defense. I think they've got some really physical guys in their front on defense, and they played some good competition. But they've got some guys that can rush the passer, and they've got some good linebackers. They got some good cover guys on the edges out there. On offense, I mean, Torrey Horton's as good a receiver as we're going to face anywhere we've played and anywhere we will play. I think both the quarterbacks are very similar that we've seen on film. They can both really throw the ball, and it's an offense that they don't fool you, with a lot of stuff. They just execute really well, and that's how the air raid or whatever version of that you see, they do what they do. They do it well. They don't come out and throw you a bunch of personnels and formations. They just run what they run, and they run it really well, and they execute it better than you can defend it, or that's what the theory of that is in the programs that I've coached at and coached against. And I think that Jay and those guys are putting their foundation in and what they're doing, but you can certainly see moments where that offense and their whole team in general is starting to get it. And, then there's some adversity like all of us that are building programs and turning rosters over. So, we've got to make sure that we concentrate on ourselves, we stop the run, we get them into situations where we can do things on defense, that we control the ball on offense, we keep their offense off the field, the same thing that we do every game. But certainly they've got, they're not grabbing a new scheme every week. They know what they're doing on offense and defense, and they've got coaches that know those schemes very well. And we got, just like any other game, we got to defend what they put on the field.
If I'm not mistaken, CSU has given up the most sacks in the nation. With your defensive line and what they've been able to do so far this season, how confident are you what they can do, especially this Friday?
Well, I think if you're going to get after the quarterback, first you got to stop the run and take that away from us. So we've got to be really good, staying our gaps and stopping the run and doing that and get them in predictable situations, because that makes it so much easier. The past couple games, we haven't been able to do that very well, and our production and takeaways have gone way down. So a lot of this game will be on who controls the ball and who stops the other team and who gets in predictable situations and who has the best special teams. And that doesn't change, but they've they've played some pretty good football teams that have some pretty good schemes as well. So I think, a bye week for both teams will show improvement, and we got to have more focus than they have.
We haven't seen the takeaway Triton as much the last 10 quarters. Is that attributed to not being in 3rd and long and not being able to pull out more stuff because you're not stopping the run as well?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And when you're not in situations to get in those kind of spots where you can really get after the quarterback, run to the ball, get into your disguised defenses, you just got to. There's a lot of things that we can do in great down and distances for our defense. We've got a lot of really good stuff, but if a team is able to control the ball and move the ball, and you got to stay more in your run defenses and your base defenses, then those opportunities become less and less. And we've made a big emphasis on it again the last couple of weeks. I know our players are really fighting to get the ball and understand the scheme and get focused. And like I told them this morning, we were talking, I'm like, I know the why. Our offense and defense, especially, they know what they're doing now. They know the plays, but now they got to know why they're doing it, what the weaknesses of each thing that we do, how we can take advantage of the teams that we're playing, and that's how you start getting those takeaways. And I think the first couple games we did a really good job because we were ahead of the sticks the whole time, and we were showing a lot of different looks, and our deception was really good. And our guys, when that's the case, we've got some really good guys that can get the ball, and we have to be in that kind of mindset and that kind of offense and defense to get our offense the ball back and get them in a rhythm. Part of offensive rhythm is the defense getting the ball back. And these last couple games, and with Iowa and Air Force, we haven't done that very well on defense, and that hurts your offense too. So there's a lot of things we got to improve on for this game.
You mentioned Corey Gordon. I guess what is it about his skill set that makes him one of the best receivers for this season?
Yeah, he's got great ball skills. He's a taller guy. They put him all over the place. He's a really good competitor. When you see him go up and fight for the ball, you have to match his intensity going up for the ball. And if you're out of position, he's fast enough to separate. And if the quarterback has time to see him, that's going to be a battle in the air. And I think it's a challenge that our defensive guys and our secondary in particular have been good at against all the wide receivers that we've seen so far. They've taken that challenge, and we've got to get those situations. But Torrey, he's a competitor. They've got some really good running backs there as well, and we seem to get good tight ends. There's a couple good tight ends at Air Force. These guys have a couple tight ends, so we're getting everybody's quality best start. So I'm looking forward to this. But we're really Torrey's a good football player.
In a situation like that, where you have one standout wide receiver, would you prefer to put a guy on him the whole game as he moves around, or do you just want to play your defense and kind of do it more from a team standpoint?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different. You can't just do one thing because they'll figure that out. You've got to do different things. You've got to disguise the looks. You got to find ways to run at him. You got to play off on. You got to put eyeballs on him. You got to get pressure on the quarterback so the quarterback can't find him. There's a lot of different things you have to do, but there's no one specific thing when you've got a quality guy like that that's going to just shut him down. And we've got to make sure that we know where he is and all their quality players. But there's a lot of different scheme things that you have to make sure that you're really good at and proficient at to be able to stop a quality guy like that.
With your quarterbacks, I guess, how would you assess how they've played and what needs to happen for them to hit another level for your group?
Yeah, we got to get consistent. We got to get consistent play from both those guys. Whenever their number's called, we have to have consistency. We have sporadic good play, and then we have just the bonehead thing on not just from our quarterbacks but all over our team right now. And we've got to cut those things down. But both those quarterbacks have the talent to be starting quarterbacks and run this offense. And when they get out there, they have to have the focus and the consistency to move the team and not do things that will cut us out of drives too fast. They've got to be smart when there's pressure, throw the ball away, check it down, take their shots when they can, and then they got to pull it and run with it, not for 50, 60 yards, but they got to run for first down, slide down, and get us first downs, keep us on the field. And I think both of them have that ability. It's just a matter of who is hot and, who can do that with the most consistency is going to play right now for us.
Any more questions for Coach?
Appreciate you guys.